In this video, I want to talk about holding on to a lot of cash. I want to talk about why people do it, how it can help you, how it can hurt you, and recommend what you should be doing with an excess amount of cash. Now, cash does provide real safety in your life for any emergency expenses that do come up. It does not move up and down like the stock market. It gives people peace of mind, and it's very easy to access. And it can protect you during job loss, emergencies, or unexpected expenses. And people naturally fear visible losses more than invisible losses. A loss in the stock market, clearly shows up in your portfolio, but a loss from inflation doesn't, and you might not even really notice. And inflation can come, many different ways in your life. Be groceries rising, your rent increasing, and even expenses like, cars and repairs, healthcare. And people tend to talk a lot about, $20,000 20 years ago versus $20,000 today and how big the difference is because of inflation. And keeping a large sum of cash on you is just taking losses from inflation. Like if you have $100,000 sitting in your checking account, it's actually going down in value because inflation is slowly eating your money away from you. And you might not see this after like 1 to 4 or 5 years, but after 10 to 20 years, you might actually notice how much it's gone down in value. And I think since COVID, I saw it, the US dollar is only worth 74 cents on the dollar. So, that's like a quarter. That's like on $100,000, that's a $25,000 loss basically. And I think what people don't understand is the difference between nominal value and real value. Nominal value is the number that shows up, in your bank account. And the real value is what your money can actually purchase. So your savings account can grow in nominal value. So say you get 3% a year. So, it's going up. But if inflation is 4%, the real value of your money actually went down 1%. You made 3% on your savings account. Inflation was 4%. That's a loss. And again, this is very hard to see, in day-to-day life because inflation, it's not like it just takes 3% of your money out of your account. And that example just shows, you can make money, but it's actually still hurting you. Also, with holding too much cash, there is the opportunity cost. Inflation and losing money isn't the only thing that'll happen. You will also miss the growth that it would have in the market. Money held for, decades has a less of an opportunity to be able to compound. And waiting for the perfect time to invest, keeps people sitting on cash for years. And if you look at the longer the timeline of holding cash versus not investing, the worse off you will be. Even in times of, market uncertainty like today. And I talked about this in a previous video, but if you miss the best 10 to 30 days in the stock market over 30-year period, that is majority of the gains. So the best time to invest is today. And I don't want to just sit here and tell you to invest. Obviously, people don't even know what that means. And cash and checking accounts and savings accounts, they don't really earn much interest. But there's other things you can buy, money market accounts, CDs, treasury bills, stuff like that can help you somewhat beat inflation, possibly. But the real money is in, the S&P 500 or something like that. And that's where I think you should be investing your money. And I think people need to separate short-term money from long-term money as well. Anything you need within the next few months, you should keep in cash. Because if you were to invest it, the market may go up or down a little bit, and then you have to pull out, maybe pay taxes on it, and you're going to be operating at maybe a loss or just dead even. So you should probably just keep this money in a savings account earning 4%. And I think your goals matter as well. You could be saving for a house or something like that. And maybe it might take you 3 years, but it should be placed somewhere that's not volatile. Like the stock market is quite volatile. So you might want to go for a safer option. And then there's your long-term money that you can just park in some more volatile investments and let sit for 30 years. I want to talk a little bit about loss aversion as well. More people are scared of losing $1,000 than they are of gaining $1,000. And waiting because of fear usually becomes a permanent habit. Someone might be like, I don't like going below $10,000 in my bank account. And why? And they might just be scared to lose money, or they don't want to contribute to retirement for gains. Some people just move the goalposts, invest when the when things calm down in the world or whatever. The best time is today, and I think that's why people tend to keep a lot of cash. It feels very safe. They always say cash is king. That sort of saying's been around forever, and that's not necessarily the case, especially in today's world where we have higher inflation. The stock market also has been doing fantastic in the last 20 years. So maybe holding cash isn't actually going to, help you out. Now I want to talk a little bit about how much cash is too much. If you have some sort of unstable income, maybe you're a business owner, you work in sales on commission, you should probably hold, maybe 12 months, 6 months to 12 months of savings just in case of job loss or, some crazy economic event. If you have a very secure and stable job, I'd recommend, 3 to 6 months of your expenses saved up. I think anything outside of that scope, you should be investing or maybe saving separately, like for a house or something like that. And the first thing you should be doing is building your emergency fund, then investing. I wouldn't try to do both at the same time or start with investing. And I do want to help people understand that investing isn't an emergency fund. You should be putting that money in and never touching it until you retire. And if you have any potential short-term expenses coming up, maybe you're going on vacation or something like that, it would be okay to, add money to your emergency fund or savings account and hold more cash. And cash is not the enemy. It helps everybody out, but holding too much of it can hurt you. And that's just my opinion on this topic. I'll let you guys think. Thanks for watching.